Hi everyone, Coach Connor here, and in this video, we're going to learn how to deadlift. You will notice that a heavy deadlift only leaves the ground in a straight vertical line, with the bar balanced over the middle of the foot, with your shoulders slightly in front of the bar. Deadlifts that do not start from here will converge on this position when the bar is heavy enough. Even lifters who deliberately set themselves up with low hips and shoulders behind the bar will find themselves with their shoulders over the bar, raised hips, and with the bar balanced over the middle of the foot when the weight is heavy enough that it cannot be lifted inefficiently. Since you're going to lift the bar from this position anyway, we might as well do it this way every time and not waste effort trying to move the bar differently. If you start from the correct position, the bar will tend toward the correct bar path without you having to think about it, because a heavy bar wants to travel in a straight line. With this in mind, the key to a proper deadlift is a proper setup. Load the bar on the floor with 135 pounds using standard 45-pound plates. This will set the bar at the standard height for a deadlift, which should be 9 inches off the floor with standard 2-inch Olympic plates. If you cannot start with 135 pounds, you can use bumper plates to load less weight, or pull from a set of blocks, or set the bar on the pins in a power rack so that the bar is at about the height it would be if 135 were loaded. When setting up, it is critical you do so without moving the bar. These steps do not work otherwise. Step 1. Set your feet narrower than shoulder width, toes pointed slightly out, and the bar over the middle of your foot. That's about 1 inch away from your shins in most cases. Don't pull the bar toward you. Place your feet under the bar. Step 2. Take an overhand grip on the bar about shoulder width. Do not move the bar. Step 3. Bring your shins to the bar. Do not bring the bar to your shins. Step 4. Without dropping your hips, squeeze your chest up to flatten your back. Do not drop your hips. This will kick the bar forward. Step 5. Drag the bar up your leg. Stand up nice and straight. Legs locked, squeeze your glutes. Place the bar back on the ground, dragging it along your pant leg all the way. If you follow the 5 steps correctly, set your stance. Take your grip. Bring your shins to the bar. Squeeze your chest up. Drag the bar up your leg. Then the bar will be in the correct place it needs to be, over the middle of your foot, and your knees, hips, shoulders, and back will be in the correct places they need to be to pull with the greatest efficiency. You should keep your gaze fixed on a point on the floor about 6 feet in front of you. This will give you a fixed point of reference and will prevent you from fidgeting with your head position during the rep. If you are still learning how to deadlift, you should perform this setup on every rep. Perform a rep, set up again, do a rep, set up again, and so on. Once you have learned what the correct setup feels like, you won't have to do this anymore. You can just set up once and go. That's the deadlift. Now let's cover some details. Your grip should be as narrow as you can manage, with the outside of your knee in contact with the inside of your elbow at the start position. Too narrow and your arms will drag along your legs. Too wide and you won't be able to lift as much weight. Your first instinct will be to hold the bar up in your palm, as this is the natural way to hold on to something. However, when you lift a heavy weight, the bar will want to roll down into your fingers. It's going to go there anyway, so let's put it there in the first place and keep it there, rather than deal with a slipping bar during a lift. Place the bar along your callus line and wrap your fingers around the bar. Preventing the bar from rolling in the hand like this can also help to reduce excessive callus formation. This tip is more important for people with normal-sized hands. For people with small hands who can only hold onto the bar one way, this tip is irrelevant. Eventually, you may find that a standard double overhand grip is not sufficient to hold on to heavier weights, because the bar will start to roll down out of your hand. To deal with this, you have a few options. First off, make sure you're using chalk. Not only will this improve your grip, it will also reduce the formation of calluses on your hand, because the bar won't be moving around as much. One choice is to use hook grip. Wrap your thumb around the bar and then wrap your fingers over your thumb like so. Your thumbnail should be in contact with the first or second segment of your middle finger. This grip can be very secure, but can also be uncomfortable. Another option is mixed grip. Grip the bar with one hand over and one hand under the bar. The underhand grip is a supinated grip, and the overhand grip is known as a pronated grip. This grip is also very secure and is typically more comfortable than hook grip. The drawback is the asymmetric position your arms are in. One arm is rotated out, while one arm is rotated in. The arm that is rotated out does not want to nicely rest at your side the way the internally rotated arm does, which sometimes makes the bar want to spin out with the supinated hand. So you need to make a conscious effort to keep that arm pinned against your side. Some lifters also have trouble keeping the supinated arm straight under load. They want to flex it. If this is you, you need to make a conscious effort to keep that arm straight. Think about flexing your triceps and keeping that elbow locked out. You might be concerned about asymmetric loading with this grip. It's not really a big deal. Lots of sports and physical activities involve asymmetric loading, and it's not necessarily a problem. If you're really concerned, just do what I do. Alternate the supinated hand. Today it's left hand under, tomorrow it's right hand under, and so on and so forth. If you're a beginner, stick to double overhand grip at first. Learning the lift is easier without the asymmetric component to think about. Once you've gotten the basics down, then you can play around with mixed grip. Another option is to use straps. There are many different strap designs that can help you hold on to more weight than you could otherwise. I have here a pair of loop straps. The loop goes over the top of my hand and the strap wraps around the bar. When the bar wants to roll out of my hand, the strap helps me to hold on. If you're not going to a powerlifting meet and you don't care about your grip strength, then I guess you could just use straps whenever you want. The barbell police aren't going to arrest you. But if you want to get your deadlift up and you want to train your grip strength, you're going to need to practice pulling heavy weights without straps. Of course, there are many useful reasons to use straps, such as managing fatigue, performing extra volume beyond the point where your grip has failed, or overloading the movement. If you're a beginner, straps are an optional piece of equipment you probably don't need to buy just yet. Your arms should be straight the entire time and should keep the bar in contact with your pants. Never bend the elbow while deadlifting. Think of your arms as chains connecting the bar to your shoulder. You are not rowing the bar up with your hands. A flexed elbow will be forcibly elongated under heavy load, so there is no point in trying to lift the weight with your arms. It's just wasted effort. Do not let the bar swing out in front of you. Use your arms and your lats to keep the bar against your pants for the whole rep. The bar should be in contact with your pants all the way up and on the way down. Notice how I carefully arrange myself in the proper position, with my back nice and flat, my hips and my knees all in the correct position. As I jerk the bar off the floor, this just turns into a big mess. My hips shoot up and my back rounds over right away. We don't want this, so don't jerk the bar off the floor. Rather, we want to slowly squeeze it off the floor. A common cue is to pull the slack out of the bar before breaking it off the floor. You should feel the weight in your hands before the bar leaves the ground. Jerking on the bar may help get it started, but it will throw off your positioning and make the rest of the lift much harder. Lifters who opt to grip it and rip it sometimes end up with their shoulders behind the bar too early and their legs extended too early, and find the lockout to be very challenging. They may resort to hitching to finish the lift, which is illegal in powerlifting meets. The lockout should be the easiest part of the lift, because it should be the most mechanically advantageous position. Lifters who squeeze the bar off the floor slowly, patiently keep their shoulders in front of the bar, will find that the lockout is the easiest part of the lift. Making your back flat during the setup should be challenging to attain. When you squeeze your chest up without dropping your hips, your upper back should feel very tight. This should be uncomfortable. If it's comfortable, it's probably wrong. For reference, your face might look like this, or this, or this, but it shouldn't look like this. You will be tempted to drop your hips to flatten out your back. Don't do this. You might kick the bar forward. This also sets your hips too low, and they will need to rise before the bar leaves the floor. We want to set our back flat during the setup and keep it flat for the whole rep. If you don't know what keeping your back flat feels like, there is a link in the description below to a previous video where I explained some drills you could do. If wrinkles form on the back of your t-shirt, that indicates you've done a great job of setting your back. If you're clipping your knees on the way up, you've made an error. You may have set up too close to the bar, and the bar now has to move horizontally to get around your knee. If this is the case, make sure to set your stance such that the bar is over the middle of your foot. If your hips are too low when you set up, your knees will be too far forward, and the bar must pass around them to get up. So remember to set up by lifting your chest up without dropping your hips. If you're clipping your knees on the way down, you've unlocked your legs too early. On the way up, you extended your legs and then extended your hips to lock out. On the way down, be sure to do the opposite. Hips first, then legs, after the bar clears your knees. Another common error is opening the hip angle too early. The hips shoot up and the legs have extended without having contributed to the vertical movement of the bar, turning the exercise into a stiff-legged deadlift and making the rep much harder. Instead, think about leg pressing the floor away or pushing the floor away with your feet, and keep the bar against your pant leg the whole time. It's called a deadlift because you are lifting dead weight, meaning every lift starts from a dead stop off the floor. Do not bounce the bar off the floor to help get it started. Romanian deadlifts are performed such that the weight never touches the floor. They're not wrong, but they are a different exercise and are not to be confused with a normal, conventional deadlift. Just like when we squat, we're going to perform a Valsalva maneuver. Take a big breath, flex the muscles of your trunk, and stand up. Imagine if someone was going to punch you in the belly and you had to flex the muscles of your trunk to protect yourself. That's what a Valsalva maneuver should feel like. Hold your breath for the whole rep and only release it once the bar is back down on the floor. This will help you to keep your torso rigid and your back flat. The rep is locked out with your legs and hips fully extended, standing up straight with shoulders behind the bar, with the bar in balance over the middle of the foot. Don't cut the rep short with soft knees or soft hips. You don't need to excessively lean back at the top either. Stand up nice and tall, then place the bar back on the ground. That's all. I'm Coach Connor. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, like the video and hit subscribe to support the channel. And be sure to check out my previous videos on the bench press and the squat. Next up in our series, we will be covering how to perform the overhead press, so stay tuned.